Can I now legally do psychedelics in Colorado? What's the scoop? Hi, if you're new here, my name is Dan Ronken. I'm a licensed therapist and a person in long-term recovery. And on this channel, I explore psychedelic therapy and addiction recovery. In this video, I'm going to cover the Natural Medicine Act, known as Proposition 122, that passed in Colorado in November 2022, and what this means for you. We'll review the following 5 topics. If psychedelics are now legal in Colorado, understanding legal versus decriminalized, mental health conditions psychedelics might treat, options for getting magic mushrooms, and other medicines included in this act. A quick note, I'll be using the terms psychedelics and plant medicines. In the context of this video, they mean the same thing. To clearly answer the first question, whether psychedelics are legal or not, I'll need to break down this video into 2 broad sections. Legalization, second, decriminalization. Both are relevant to the Natural Medicine Health Act. But first, let's kick it off with legalization and what this means in the context of this act. This measure initially only legalizes psilocybin, the active ingredient in magic mushrooms, for use in licensed facilities. Other psychedelics listed in this act may be approved for legalization in the future. Stick around because I'll cover these plant medicines later in the video. There are a lot of prestigious institutions conducting studies on psychedelics. Johns Hopkins, NYU, UCLA, conducted around depression, anxiety, PTSD. I'll add links to a couple of these studies from Johns Hopkins in the description of this video below. And in 2022, a psilocybin study for alcohol use disorder conducted by NYU showed an 83% reduction in heavy drinking for the study participants. To see a video on this study, click up here. Lastly, psilocybin just might help with personal or spiritual growth and overall well-being, independent of any mental health diagnosis. The only way you'll be able to legally purchase psilocybin is through these licensed healing centers, where the public will be able to purchase, consume, and take psilocybin under supervision with trained professionals. This will be regulated by the Department of Regulatory Agencies, DORA. So you won't see a bunch of retail psilocybin dispensaries around the state like you do with cannabis shops. Don't leave yet, because there are other options in getting magic mushrooms that I'll cover later in this video. The Department of Regulatory Affairs, DORA again, has until September 2024 to have structural requirements in place and begin accepting applications from potential healing centers. So at the earliest, it seems around late 2024 when licensed healing centers can begin to offer psilocybin therapy services. So I wouldn't rush out to Colorado expecting to find a center that's officially licensed and approved by the state just quite yet. If approved by the governor-appointed Natural Medicine Advisory Board, the list might expand in 2026 beyond just psilocybin to extend to other psychedelics I will be discussing in the decriminalization section. Before we move on to what decriminalization means, we just reviewed legalization, which is for psilocybin only. For now, that is. Psilocybin is also included in decriminalization. Let's go there now. Means that certain psychedelic plants and fungi, I've been pronouncing it fungi my whole life, but I recently heard Paul Stamets, the world's foremost expert and mushroom guru, pronounce it fungi, so that's how I'm pronouncing it going forward. Anyway, back to decriminalization. It means that certain psychedelic plants and fungi are still prohibited by law, yet the legal system would not prosecute the person if they're over the age of 21 for carrying under a certain amount for personal use. The details of exactly how much is considered personal use is still to be determined. In addition, this measure goes even further in that you can share these plant medicines with other people. Toward the end of this video, we'll talk about what other psychedelics are included in the Natural Medicine Health Act. Yes, under a couple of conditions. First, the plants and fungi are kept in or on the grounds of a private home or residence. Second, they are secured from access by a person under the age of 21. Again, you can share them with people over the age of 21, but not sell them for any type of compensation. How you go about growing magic mushrooms is beyond the scope of this video. Do your research. Psilocybin, we've already covered this, as well as psilocyn, which is another psychedelic found in magic mushrooms. Dimethyltryptamine, also known as DMT, which is found in plants and animals, including certain frogs. Ibogaine, which is derived from the bark of an African shrub. Mescaline, which is found in several species of cacti. The measure excludes peyote because of sustainability and other indigenous cultural concerns. To clarify, the above-mentioned psychedelics are not decriminalized, so you would not be prosecuted for personal possession or sharing. They may eventually become legalized and regulated like psilocybin in the healing centers. Again, the earliest this would happen would be beginning in 2026. For those who have already completed a sentence who would not have been guilty of an offense under this act, they may file a petition to seal the record of the conviction at no cost. I haven't been able to find out details about people who are still serving sentences, so any lawyers out there or anybody else that has any information, please go ahead and leave a comment below and let us know. Finally, we're starting to unravel the war on drugs, which is very costly for society and does more harm than good. Subscribe to stay up to date, as I plan on doing another video as more unfolds with this historic act.